Hello, fans, and welcome to This Day in Baseball, where we're going to bring you a full radio broadcast of today's game. And before we do that, I just want to thank Classic Baseball Radio, and there's a link in the notes where you can check out their full channel. They have many great radio broadcasts. And while you're listening to today's game, if you want to check out much more about the game and the players, look on the links below, and you're going to see links to player pages, the date the game happened, the year it happened, and the play-by-play. Enjoy the game, and check out the links while you're watching the game, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that every time new content comes out, you're going to get that firsthand. And thank you again for checking out This Day in Baseball, and enjoy the game.
Left field, John Kibler. The right fielder, Nestor Shylock, the right field umpire. Coaching at third, Frank Osiak. And over at first base, Don Leppert. 3:09 down the lines, and the first pitch in there for a strike. Dave Cash on the air, batting at .289. 2 homers and 34 runs batted in. 1 for 4 in the first game. No ball, 1 strike pitch by the right-hander. A good fastball, ripped foul back on the net. And the count is 0-2. Palmer, perhaps the best all-around athlete on the Baltimore Ball Club. An excellent fielder of his position at the pitching mound. On deck and watching also Richie Hebner. There's a let-up that's into the dirt to the right side of the plate. A ball and 2 strikes. 3:09 right down the line. The wind, as Jim has told you, is out of left field across to right. And could be much of a factor here today. 1 ball, 2 strike pitch, fastball, ripped foul off the left side over by the Baltimore dugout. A ball and 2 strikes. We're just underway with no score. Manager Daddy Murtaugh has said this will be his lineup, not only today, of course, that you see of Cash, Hebner, Clemente, Stargell, Oliver, Robertson, Sanguy, and Hernandez, but also against Cuellar, attempting to take away his screwball in the game tomorrow. 1-2 delivery, bat handle bloop on a short hop is Belanger. Nice play, throws him out. A bat handle short hop down to shortstop. Belanger throwing out Dave Cash. There's 1 away. They have turned the lights off here. And here is Richie Hebner, batting at .271 on the year, 17 homers, 67 runs batted in. A young man who had a decision to reach early in his life professionally, whether he would play hockey or play baseball. Checks off the pitch and fouls it back. He has perhaps the quickest bat on the Pirate Ball Club. He can crowd the plate. You can hit him with a strike on the right elbow. And his right fist is right over the inside corner of the plate when he's up there. Deep in the batter's box. Pitch to him, a swing and a foul, and it's strike 2. But having played hockey and the master of that slap shot on the ice, he has, of course, come along with very quick wrists. Much has been said, and I'm sure you've heard from many of the broadcasts on NBC Game of the Week about the fact that in the offseason, his father employs him as a gravedigger. The 0-2 pitch is high, a ball, 1-2. The outfield around the right on him, and left fielder Buford playing in a wicked sun field now. Gives him about 90 feet of the left field line. 1-2 pitch, a change, is him at the dirt, ball, 2-2. 1 out and none on and no score in Game 2 of the 1971 World Series. And this game being aired all over the world. The largest audience available to anybody anywhere. High on his fastball, 3-2. Palmer will walk some batters. And the Pirates basically have been a good, solid fastball hitting club. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and the payoff pitch underway, and it's high, ball 4. He's put him on. Hebner going down to first. One rule that the Pirates have throughout their entire organization: when their men get on base, they will always wear the protective headgear. Statistics have shown them, at least, that there is more danger being hit on the head with a thrown ball while on the pads than while at the plate. Now, Bobby Clemente, batting at .341 on the year. 2 for 4 in the first game of the series, has hit safely in all World Series games in which he has participated. 7 in 1960 against the Yankees, and 2 for 4 in the first game here. Palmer's fastball upstairs, the ball. And as we observed earlier, Jim Simpson, he was having trouble getting the ball down while he was warming up. Rube Powell holding now to Hebner, and with Johnson playing a little to the right Up towards second, the favorite hole for Clemente up the right side is available to him. The 1-0 delivery, and it's a swing and a foul back in the count of 1-1. Bobby appears to be very much stepping in the bucket, but those who observe the game closely know that is not true. The upper part of his body from the waist up is right out over that plate. And you cannot fool him on pitches outside, inside, high or low. He has tremendous ability to hit the ball wherever it's pitched. A 1-1 delivery is low and away for the ball, and it's 2-1. The Baltimore outfield is swung to the right. The gap to Clemente in the outfield is left center field. And Buford gives Clemente an awful lot of that left field line. 2 balls and a strike, no score. Hebner at first, 1 out. And Clemente wheels on a fastball, 2-2. And there was power to power that time. On deck, Wilbur Stargell. Ball 2, strike 2. Leopard well out of the coaching box down the first base side with Clemente up there. He has a habit of ripping wicked fouls down that way. 2-2 pitch, and it's hit back up to the middle for the base hit. He stepped out of there and dotted it right off the bat handle. Into second will go Hebner and hold there. Slight bobble by Rettenmund, no advance by Hebner. And the Buccos have 2 men on with 1 out to Willie Stargell. So now Clemente has hit safely in 9 consecutive World Series games, spanning 11 years, in 1960 and now here in 1971. And Willie Stargell, 0 for 17 on the year. That is with regard to the year he's thinking about. The championship games against the Giants and thus far in the World Series. So Stargell with Hebner at second and Clemente at first. Here's the matter. The outfield swung deep and around to the right. Palmer works, delivers, and he's in there for a strike. It was called. Ed Sudol calling the balls and strikes. Palmer went to Arizona State, although he did not play baseball there under Bobby Winkles, the great coach for the Arizona State Ball Club. The delivery is outside. Bobby Winkles and Rod Dedeaux, perhaps the 2 most successful collegiate coaches going. Rod Dedeaux has won more national championships at SC. But Winkles has provided an awful lot of great talent, now proving itself in the major leagues. 1 ball and 1 strike to Stargell, the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 2. That time, Palmer challenged him with a sinking type of fastball. Out of Arizona State, Oakland has Sal Bando, Reggie Jackson, and Rick Mundy. The Mets with Gary Gentry and Duffy Dyer, and Larry Gurra, a fine pitcher in the National League. Palmer, while he did go to Arizona State briefly, did not play there. Here's the 1-2 pitch, a change into the dirt, balls 2, strike 2. That time, Palmer on a 1-2 count trying to get Willie to go fishing. Boog Powell, of course, deep, hugging the line along first. Hebner off second, Clemente off first, no score, 1 out. Here's the look now, and the 2-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss, he struck him out. So, now they have put Stargell on an 0 for 18 streak. Palmer this year in posting an ERA average of 2.68, struck out 184 batters in 282 innings of pitching. Started 37 games and completed 20. Now the batter with 2 down is Al Oliver. 0 for 1 in the first game as a pinch batter, batting on the season at 282. 2 on, 2 out, the pitch. Change up, flogged off the right side. Over goes Boog Powell. Comes up off to Palmer, and the Orioles are out of the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left, and we go now to the bottom of the first, and there is no score.
Back in Baltimore, along with Bob Prince, this is Jim Simpson, and no question about it, the Buccos had a great chance in the first inning after Cash grounded to short. Hebner drew a walk on a high fastball with a 3-2 count. Clemente followed with a single. Rich stopped at second base, but then Stargell went down swinging at a high fastball, and Oliver hit the first pitch he saw and was tossed out by Powell. So the Pittsburgh Pirates left 2 aboard. Don Buford steps in now against Bob Johnson of Pittsburgh in the bottom of the first, and here again is Bob.
All right, Jim, and Billy Hunter coaches at third for the Baltimore Orioles, and George Stoller. Over at third is Hunter. Over at first is Stoller. Don Buford batting .290 on the regular season, 19 homers and 54 runs batted in, a left-hand batter. Went 2 for 4 in the first game. And takes a fastball upstairs and away. Ball one from Bob Johnson. Johnson 9-10 on the year. Won a clutch game, as you heard Jim and Sandy Koufax referring to, in the championship series against the Giants. The 1-0 pitch, and Buford hits it down to first base, backing up on the ball. Bobby Robertson on to Johnson. He just does get Buford, and that's the play that caused Johnson a lot of trouble. His left leg, he suffered a very severe injury in a motorcycle accident several years ago, and at one time they were thinking of amputating that leg. So anytime there's a play involving Johnson covering first or a bunt play, he is in some trouble. Now here's Merv Rettenmund from Flint, Michigan. Went to Ball State College in Muncie, Indiana, where he turned down ultimately a pro career in football to go with baseball. He's got to be considered one of the best fourth outfielders in all of baseball. And he takes an off-speed pitch for a strike. Locked him up on that one. The outfield playing him straight away. Stargell particularly deep. Rettenmund 1 for 4, but what a big blast that was. A home run for 3 runs driven in game 1. The 0-1 pitch to him is a curveball hit down the left field line on Stargell, running hard over near the line. And he's there. Got him on a change curve. And it's 2 down and no score in the Baltimore first inning. Rettenmund liked what he saw, went on the slow change and didn't get it. And now it's a 309er down that left field line. Stargell went right into that corner to get it. 309 down both lines, then it falls away to 360. Then to 380 in the power alleys and 390 in the not-so-power alleys and 410 straight out. Here's Boog Powell. He wore the collar in the first game. He went 0 for 3. Batting on the season at 256. Pitch that backed up on him to the left-hand batter. Caught the inside corner of the plate for a called strike. Necessarily George Stoller well out of the first base coaching box with this big fella up there. Outfield around to the right. And the 0-1 delivery is a fastball. Backed him off the plate 1-1. Interestingly enough, when Jim Simpson and I were down on the field, Japanese reporters, many of whom are covering this series for obvious reasons, because they come over for the World Series, but they're also going to be watching Baltimore play in Japan this fall. Fastball off the right fist, and it's ball 2 and a strike. They were asking Boog if his hand would be all right for him to play in Japan. He said, "I'll be there, and I'll be playing." Outfield deep and around to the right. Third baseman Hebner very wide, shading over toward the hole. The infield shift is on. Hernandez, Cash, and Robertson all on the first base side of second. There's a change hit up the middle, and backhanded by Cash on a fine play and throws him out. That ball was hit like it was going on into right center field for the base hit, but the shift with Cash moving quickly to the right threw him out of there. So it's 3 up and 3 down. At the end of 1 inning, there is no score. He did score a run, batting at 271. You'll recall if you were watching or listening to the game, he was able to come around a swing and a miss on a fastball right off the left thigh. He hit in the head with a thrown ball and came on around to score. Orioles won the first game 5-3. They've been pegged on those 5s throughout their series. Here's the 0-1. And a swing and a miss, strike 2 as Palmer's fastball ran right in on his fist. Robertson appealing to Ed Sudol that he might have held up to no avail. On deck, the Roadrunner, Manny Sanguillen. He was never batted under 300 in his professional career. Former boxer out of Panama. And the fastest running catcher in all of baseball. The 0-2 pitch is a fastball. Palmer wasted it just outside. Didn't miss it by much. Balled him 2 strikes. The Orioles really play almost straight away in their infield. Unusual in that very few teams do that against Robertson. There's a change into the dirt for a ball, 2-2. But you must take into consideration that Palmer has a blazing fastball. And a right-hander does not figure to pull him quite as much as other pitchers. 2 balls, 2 strikes. No score as we play in the top of the second. Now the 2-2 pitch to Robertson's a changeup, beat foul right at his feet. Robertson has one other distinction besides raw power. He hit 26 home runs in the regular season. He hits probably the highest pop-ups of anybody in baseball. They just keep drilling up and up and up and up. He's an uppercut swinger. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and the pitch. And it's a fastball around the bill of the cap, ball 3. And you can hear that mitt pop. And you can hear the fans oohing and awing. That ball traveling better than 90 miles an hour. 60 feet 6 inches, you get about 1/5 of a second to figure out what to do with that thing when it's over the plate. And not more than that. 3 balls and 2 strike pitch. And he walks Bobby Robertson. That's the second walk. So the Buccos again have a base runner, and the batter will be Sanguillen, who scored a run in the first game of the series. The Orioles won 5-3. Sanguillen 0 for 4 in the series. Is a stray hitter and a very dangerous type of hitter.
Number 35.
There is no real strike zone to him. He's picked them off his eyeballs. He's hit a 9-iron shot for home runs. He's done about everything you can ask of a man. Possessed of one of the great throwing arms in baseball. And in only his 3rd year as a professional in the majors. Now they deliver it to him, and he swings. He goes all the way around. Strike 1. That one almost blew all the air out of the infield. He uses the biggest bat on the Pirate roster, close to 40 ounces. No balls and a strike. The look to first, the pitch, a swing and a miss, strike 2. There is no holding of Robertson at first by Boog Powell. Powell alertly and wisely assuming, of course, Robertson no threat to be running. The outfield around to the right on Sanguillen. There's a swing and a foul tip, and Sudall's been hit. We've noticed down through the years that Ed Sudall gets hit by more foul tips than any other umpire in baseball. It's the manner in which he umpires behind the plate. He does not quite employ the technique of other umpires where he works in over the shoulder, and he moves around a lot back there. And he'll get hit more than most any other umpire behind the plate. 0-2. Palmer from the stretch. And there's a ball lined to the right for the base hit off an 0-2 pitch. Robertson will hold at second. And again, the Buccos have runners at first and second. This time, none out. Second hit surrendered by Palmer. Now the batter, Jackie Hernandez. Jackie 0 for 3 in the first game of the series. Did score a run. Got aboard on a fielder's choice.
Batting it, the shortstop, number 2.
Now, as we said, Palmer perhaps is the best fastball pitcher the Baltimore Orioles have. But by the same token, the Pirates, down through this season, has been the best fastball hitting club in the National League. They have been feasting on fastball pitching. Off-speed deliveries and breaking balls tie them up, and you'll, as Jim Simpson said in Game 1, they'll strike out a lot, but sometimes when they're doing that, they score a lot of runs. Hernandez swing, doesn't get it. Tried that time to go into right field with it. And basically, he is a right field hitter. Obtained by the Pirates with pitcher Bob Johnson in a trade in the offseason last year that sent Freddie Patek over, along with Jerry May, a catcher, and Bruce Dow Kenton. No balls and a strike, and the pitch to Hernandez. A swing and a miss, and it's strike 2. And that time he swung when the pitch was by him. Well, in the first inning with 1 out, Hebner walked and Clemente singled. And then Palmer bore down to strike out Stargell and retire Oliver. This inning, it's Robertson on a walk and Sanguillen on an 0-2 pitch singling. And there's Hernandez on a fly ball to center. And Rettenmund is under for the out, and Robertson jogging back into second base. So there's 1 down to Bob Johnson. Johnson on the year, batting at .063. We'll watch the Baltimore inner defense for you here now as he stands in. Johnson having had his look to Frank Osiak, and Boog Powell, of course, up inside at first, and likewise Brooks Robinson at third. There is no score. 2 on in the second, 1 out. Johnson shortened up for the bunt, took a bill-high fastball outside. 1 ball to no strikes. Pirates in their zipperless and buttonless uniforms, the first to start that. Other clubs have since copied it. Baltimore has come close, but they use the button on the tunic. The 1-0 delivery, and the bunt is fouled away, and a count of 1-1. This is where the runner out at second base has to be extremely careful in a bunt play, because if the pitcher or the batter bunts through the ball, you don't always pick that up, and sometimes you can be picked off by that catcher on a throw through to second base. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 on, 1 out, no score. And he shortens up the bunt, takes it high, ball 2, 2-1. And Palmer's not only wild, he's loud wild. throwing what some of our Pittsburgh Pirate players refer to as that radio ball. You can hear it, but you can't see it. 2 balls and a strike. And he bunted through one this time, and it's 2-2. Now Johnson will have another look down to Osiak at third. One good thing about a bunt play, everybody moves. That's one play that gets everybody doing something. Just getting into our broadcast, the Bucks had 2 on and 1 out in the first, didn't score. Now we're here in the second with 2 on and 1 out. Johnson, a batter. Ball 2, strike 2. 2-2 delivery, and strike 3. Shortened up the bunt, but I don't think he did. It was just over the plate. And that is a called strikeout. And that'll bring up now Dave Cash, who bounced out to short back in the first inning with 2 away. The First Lady of our land, Mrs. Richard Nixon, and her daughter Julie, and son-in-law David Eisenhower here at the ball game today. The outfield is swung now to the right on Dave Cash. They'll gap him in the outfield and left center field. Robertson off second and Sanguin off first. Palmer's delivery belted out into right center. Coming up for it is Merv Rettenmund. The sinking ball, he got it. Played him perfectly as Cash tried for the base hit in right center field, and Rettenmund getting a sinking drive right at the knees to retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and again 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the second, and there is no score.
We pause 30 seconds for station.
With Jim Simpson, Bob Prince from Memorial Stadium in Game 2 in Baltimore, Maryland, as Frank Robinson steps in. And he hits a long, high foul to the upper deck off the left field side. Robinson has hit, that's Frank, has hit a home run in 3 of his last 4 series games. And he powered one out that really sparked the Orioles. They were trailing 0-3 when he hit one to make it 3-1. The outfield deep and around to the left on him. Johnson delivers, and a breaking ball just misses outside. And a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Frank 2 for 4 in the first game, driving in a run, of course, with that home run. 1 ball and 1 strike. And the 1-1 delivery, swinging a foul straight back. Bobby Clemente is giving Frank Robinson better than 90 feet of the right field line. It's 309 down both lines here in Memorial Stadium, and it falls out to 360. The height of the wall there in that area is 14 feet. The wire wall in center field is 7 feet in height. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Frank Robinson. Now the 1-2 pitch, no. Instead, a step out by Robinson as Johnson started his windup. There is no score as we play in the Baltimore second inning. Robinson, Hendricks, and Brooks Robinson to bat. There's a pitch high for a ball, 2-2. Bill O'Donnell, one of the voices of the Orioles, informs Jim and me that Jim Palmer normally is wild high, and it's usually in the first couple of innings. He's had a little back problem. He also wears a lift in one of his shoes, and until he gets totally loosened up, he's up high. There's a ball hit back through the middle, and Johnson tried to get out of the way of it and did, and the ball went into center field for the base hit. Johnson, I don't think, picked that ball up right away and sort of flinched as it came by. I don't know that he could have fielded it, but nonetheless, it got through there for the base hit, and that's the first hit off Johnson. So that'll make Robinson 3 for 5 in the series and bring up Ellie Hendricks, batting left-handed. Baltimore catcher, one of 2, Andy Etchebarren in the other, with Clay Dalrymple, of course, in the wings. Ellie Hendricks batting .250 with 9 homers, 42 runs on the season. Enjoyed a 1 for 4 day in the first game of the series, won by Baltimore, 5-3. That first game drew 53,229, and despite the rain out of yesterday and the workday normally for Monday, this looks like another crowd very close to that figure. Under a very bright, high sky now. Look, the first, the pitch, and he sawed him off with a fastball on the inside corner. That fastball just backed right up on Ellie Hendricks. Johnson, who likes to work quickly. Many times, certain ball clubs would interrupt that flow of his by stepping out, like they did on Bob Gibson whenever possible. Nobody worked the game any quicker than Bob Gibson, the St. Louis Cardinal pitcher. He just gets it and goes, and many times wouldn't even take 8 pitches to warm up. Just go right out there and go to it. Johnson, a lob throw to first. Does not have a good move to first base, by the way. Bobby Robertson holding to Frank Robinson. Ellie Hendricks. No balls and a strike to the left-hand batter. Outfield swung to the right on him. Here's a delivery hit foul, and he turned that pitch over, and Hendricks just did get a piece of it, fouling it off to the left. 0-2. There will be no travel date. The Pirates and the Orioles will leave immediately following the ball game and go to Pittsburgh, where they'll play a game tomorrow. And then on Wednesday night, first night game in World Series history. And again Thursday, if that game is necessary in Pittsburgh, returning it thereafter, if necessary, to Baltimore to conclude the series. Hendricks started looking for a curveball and went in and got a small shave right into the chin. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Johnson is not afraid to knock you back off the plate, try to set you up for a pitch. We have Frank Robinson, the runner at first base. There is no score as we play in the bottom of the second. And nobody out. A partial infield shift on Ellie Hendricks. Johnson on the 1-2 delivery sends it inside. He button hooks to get out of the way. 2-2. Hernandez, the Pirate shortstop, is not quite behind second base, but there is a big gap off the left side to Ellie, with Hebner up tight at third. They give him everything off the shortstop side. Manager Danny Murtaugh said the Pirate scouts gave him a very good book on the Baltimore Ball Club. They failed to tell him just one thing: how high he should play his outfielders. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's a big slop curveball way outside. He didn't want to throw that one out that far, and it's 3-2. The count on the batter, Ellie Hendricks. And 2 strikes. Frank Robinson, who opened this inning for Baltimore the second with a single, now edging off first. And Hendricks steps out again. Time call momentarily. Plate umpires Ed Sudol. John Rice is at first, and Eddie Vargo at second. Jim Odom at third, with Kibler in left and Chalak in right. And again, the bee problem might be bothering Bob Johnson. A lot of bees around here. 3-2 pitch. The runner holding ball 4. So Frank Robinson will go to second, and Hendricks will go to first on the first walk of the ball game. And here is Brooks Robinson. Brooks is 1 for 4 in the series. On the year, batted to .272, 20 homers, and 92 runs batted in.
Batting 6. Playing third base.
They are starting to unlimber out in the Pirate bullpen, and Bruce Kison is getting up. Bruce Kison is the young man who's just 21 years of age. So Kison is up and loosening as the Orioles have 2 men on and nobody out. That's the first activity in either bullpen today. Johnson checks at Robinson, delivers a curve that's high around the middle of the cap, and it's ball 1. The Pirates now in the very first inning had 2 men on and 1 man out and didn't score against Palmer. In the second inning, got the first 2 men on and didn't score. Now here's Baltimore with their first Red Riding in the second. Robinson at second base, Hendricks at first, and the batter Brooks Robinson. Johnson delivers a fastball hit foul down the left field line out of play. Got a lot of wood on him, that's all. Bruce Kison, who is 6'5", weighs 185 pounds, but you'd not know it to look at him, is in the bullpen. He's a young man who, with his bride-to-be, scheduled the wedding of October the 17th. And if it goes 7 games, he'll be hard-pressed to make that wedding on time. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 on, nobody out. 1-1 to Robinson. Fastball on the outside corner for a called strike. Johnson that time going to his slider. Bob was 9-10 on the year with the Kansas City Ball Club. Had over 200 strikeouts. He's not had that type of a record for the Pirates this year. A little over 100 strikeouts. When he came over to Pittsburgh, they all thought he was a good fastball pitcher. He claims his best pitch is a slider and his breaking ball. Here's the 1-2 delivery, and his fastball that time just outside, and he stares at Sudol. Wonders where that pitch was. Two balls, 2 strikes. Now here's where Bob Johnson, the pitcher, wants a favorable decision against Brooks Robinson. The look to second, the 2-2 pitch is ball 3, and he's dug a hole. Now Sanguin out to have a word here. Sanguin, the first couple of years as a Pirate, being young and sort of shy behind the plate, didn't want to go out and talk too much to his pitchers. But this year he has been a takeover man. And he's out chatting now, and he'll brook no rebuttal on the part of that pitcher when he goes out there to give him a tongue lashing. No question right here, Johnson's in trouble. The Orioles with 2 men on and nobody out to Brooks Robinson, a very dangerous batter, with a count of 3-2. We'll watch the Oriole runners for you. They have a lot of speed in both Robinson and Hendricks on the sacks. And Brooks does not strike out very often. Now the look. The runners are holding, and it's hit right through the middle for the base hit off the end of the bat. Here comes Frank Robinson. He'll score. Brooks Robinson singles right through the middle on a ball that again had Bob Johnson ducking. And it went on in. It was hit off the end of the bat into shallow center field. There was no play made whatsoever on Frank Robinson, and the Orioles take the lead of 1-0. First time in the series they're broken on top. So the Robinson act gets into it. Ellie Hendricks, of course, now at second. The batter is Davey Johnson. 1 for 4 in the first game on the season, batting at .282. 18 homers and 72 runs batted in. The outfield will play this right-hand batter straight away. Kison continuing to loosen in the right field bullpen. Change curve to the outside corner for a strike. 0-1. A base hit by Frank Robinson here in the second inning. A walk to Ellie Hendricks and a 2-2 pitch single up the middle by, or 3-2 pitch single up the middle by Brooks Robinson. And the Orioles have the lead. There's a fastball outside, a count of 1-1. Beautiful day, a bit on the cool side, but nonetheless, great day for a baseball game. Al Oliver 2 steps to his right on Davey Johnson. Stargell, the deep man in the Pirate outfield. 1 ball and 1 strike. A run in, runners at first and second, and nobody out in the Baltimore second inning. And there's a bouncer down to Cash. They get 1. They'll go out there for that out, and that's all they're going to get. And they pick up the double dip, really, on a liner right to Cash. It fooled me for the moment. On to Hernandez. They've doubled up the Orioles here, and back in plenty of time was Brooks Robinson at first base. So put Davey Johnson out on a line drive to Cash, and then on to Hernandez for the double up on Ellie Hendricks. And with 2 down, a run in, runner at first, Brooks Robinson. The batter now, Mark Belanger. Belanger 2 for 4 in the front game, scored a run. On the regular season, batted at .266 with no home runs. Brooks Robinson now has 10 runs batted in the World Series, and this is his 16th game in World Series play. Orioles leading 1-0. And Belanger, right-hand batter, takes a sinking delivery outside for a ball. That's a big out there, a double play that Johnson lined into. Cash very quickly slipping it on to Hernandez to double up Ellie Hendricks. Now the look in the 1-0 pitch, and there's a ball hit right back to Johnson. He ducked again, but the ball was in his mitt, and they have zeroed in the center of the diamond on Bob Johnson. He went to his knees, and the ball went right into the mitt. A run on 2 hits, no errors, and a man left. At the end of 2, Baltimore 1, and the Pittsburgh Pirates nothing.
Both in the second inning, no errors for Baltimore, no runs on 2 hits, and no errors for the Pirates, who twice in this ball game have had 2 men on. In the first inning, 2 on with 1 out, and their National League and Major League home run champion Willie Stargell up, but he struck out and Oliver grounded out to end that threat. Then in the second inning, the Pirates got Robinson on a walk, Sanguin on a single, but the next 3 went down in order. The first time that Baltimore had a base runner, Frank Robinson, in the second inning, he was singled home by Brooks Robinson. Top of the third, here's Bob.
All right, Jim, and Hebner swings and misses the first pitch. Hebner walked in the first inning. Outfield around to the right on him. Very controlled stance up at the plate. And the delivery to him is a fastball down low from Jim Palmer. Ball 1, strike 1. Hebner a little bit reminiscent at the plate of one Stan Musial, as though he's batting right out of a phone booth. Good level swing. The 1-1 pitch, and he takes a pitch that sailed to the outside corner. Ran away from the left-hand batter on the corner for the strike 1 and 2. Baltimore leading 1-0. Each team in with 2 base hits. The 1-2 pitch is pulled off the first base side, and Boog Powell has it. Ball came up on his wrist, but he takes him unassisted. 1 away. That'll bring up Bobby Clemente, who has hit safely in all of his World Series games. 9. He was a big star in the series of 1960 and one of the most unbelievable World Series games ever put on. The New York Yankees scored all the runs, and the Pirates won the games. 4 out of the 7 by about a run each time. The Yankees put them away and all the others with a fearful amount of runs. A ball outside to Clemente. Bobby steps out of that plate every now and then and just dings you to the other field. There's a fastball that's low. Ball 2, 2-0. Clemente many times will give you the first couple of pitches no matter what you're throwing. No matter whether they're balls or strikes. He just has an idea. And he'll change bats an awful lot. Steps out a moment, a little bit of wind kicking up around home plate with a little dust swirl. Palmer on the 2-0 pitch. And a good swing by Clemente. Came in here to the right to our photographer's booth. Ball 2, strike 1. Baltimore leads here by the score of 1-0. 1 out. Nobody aboard in the 3rd. Bobby Clemente. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and there's a ball lined to right field very deep. Frank Robinson going to have to play it off the wall. Bobby's around first base on his way to second. Here comes the throw. Slide safe with a double. So Clemente hits his second double in the series. A wicked line shot off the right field pad, 309 feet away. And Bobby continues his murderous assault. Jim Simpson, I hate to think of what he'd hit if he were really sick.
For those of you who don't know, Bob's talking about every time he talks to Roberto, if you ask him how he feels, you better stick around for the medical report. But apparently, Bob, the worse he feels, the better he hits.
Well, he certainly does all of that. And now here's Willie Stargell, who is 0 for 18. He struck out his first time up. That's the 3rd hit off Palmer. There's Palmer starting him off with a breaking ball outside, and I don't think Palmer liked that call from his actions coming off the mound. The Orioles lead 1-0. Stargell on the year had 48 homers and drove in 125 runs. Now the look in the 1-0 delivery, a swing and a miss, and a count of 1-1. Well, there's a fellow here in town who was a magnificent ball player. Gil Hodges had one of the most fearful lack of hitting streaks you ever saw when he played for the Dodgers against the Yankees. 1 ball, 1 strike pitch, and it tailed outside, 2-1. He turned that pitch over. Baltimore, 1 run on 2 hits. The Pirates, no runs on 3 hits. Clemente is 2 for 2 and is at second base with a ringing double. 2-1 pitch to Stargell. Ball 3 outside, 3-1. On deck is Al Oliver. Frank Robinson is deep, way out in right. And Rettenmund very much pulled over. Buford is giving Stargell only about 70 feet of the left field line. Stargell has fearful power to left. Palmer on the 3-1 pitch, and Stargell takes ball 4, and Palmer has walked his 3rd batter. So now the Pirates have again 2 men on. Did it in the first inning with 1 out, put 2 on. In the second inning, put 2 on with none out. And now here with 1 out in the 3rd inning, have put 2 on and have yet to score. The batter will be Al Oliver. He was out on a 3-1 play in the first inning. Jammed on a pitch, pulled it to Boog Powell and off to Palmer for the out. 2 men on and 1 out the pitch, and it's high, ball 1. And Palmer's up high with his fastball. You recall, we told you a little earlier that he works with a bad back, and until he gets that loosened up, when he's wild high. Rarely is he wild low. 1 ball, no strikes to Oliver, and the pitch. And there's 1 outside, ball 2, and Palmer pops his mitt with his bare hand and comes in now. Elrod Hendricks goes out to talk to him a little bit. With Oliver, your outfielders have a tendency to pinch in on him. That is that Robinson, your right fielder, and Buford, your left fielder for Baltimore, will have moved in on Rettenmund, giving Oliver both lines. Because he rarely hits the ball to left or pulls it down to right. His power basically is right center field and left center. He can hit it a ton. 2 balls and no strikes. And the log on Oliver, basically, he's a tremendous hitter in the last month of the season. Here's a swing and a foul back. He took a good rip. 2-1. In game 1, the Pirates picked up a 3-0 lead. Then came Frank Robinson's home run, then Rettenmund's big 3-run homer, and finally a solo blast by Buford to win it 5-3. Now the Orioles are on top, 1-0, and the 2-1 pitch to Oliver, and there's a ball lifted out toward left. Buford started in, now drifts off to the right and makes the catch, and there are 2 away. That'll bring up Bob Robertson, who drew a walk back in the second inning. Baltimore with 2 down against the Pirates here in the third, and the Pirates with 2 on, and 1-0 Baltimore. We're in the third inning. Thus far, the Pirates have had 4 men stranded by Palmer. You always get into I guess it depends on which locker room you go into. You go into the team that won the game, you'll find their pitcher stranded the runners. You go into the losing manager's locker room, and you find out your hitters stranded the runners. Funny thing, what a difference 2 locker rooms make. Ball outside to him. 1 ball and no strikes. Clemente off second base, Stargell off first. Now Jim Palmer ready. And the 1-0 delivery, and a swing and a miss by Robertson, and the count of 1-1. This broadcast being carried all over the world. American Forces Radio and through Taiwan, Japan, everywhere. Nice to have you all aboard, and to you serving your country, Jim Simpson, NBC, and I send you all our best in a speedy return home and a most safe one. The 1-1 pitch is a change hit foul off third, and a count of 1-2. Good change that time, right over the top by Palmer. One ball and 2 strikes. I have no way of really knowing, but I would judge Jim Simpson. This crowd is pushing up around to 52,000 or more here today. Palmer, a ball and 2 strikes on Bobby Robertson. Pirates with runners at first and second and 2 down in the third. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and he strikes him out swinging. Came up with his fastball right in his letters. And that is his 3rd strikeout. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 left. We go now to the bottom of the third. Baltimore leading Pittsburgh 1-0.
To the third inning, Jim Palmer's already thrown 63 pitches, but he has also shut out the powerful Pirates for 3 innings, and the Buccos have stranded 6 on base. 1-0 Baltimore as Palmer, the pitcher, steps in to start off the Baltimore third against Bob Johnson, and here's Bob Prince.
Right you are, Jim Simpson, and Jim Palmer stands in. Perhaps the best batting pitcher of the day here. He's 196, nothing and 9 on the year. No homers, 9 runs batted in. And Bob Johnson starts him off with a curve outside, ball 1. Playing him out in that outfield straight away. Right-hand batter. Fastball flicked foul back on the netting. Count of 1-1. One ball and 1 strike. And the 1-1 delivery, he blew it right by him. Strike 2 swinging. Chairman of the board of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Mr. John Galbraith, and his wife, Dorothy, have gone to Paris to see their horse, Roberto, run. One of the outstanding 2-year-olds in all the world. The 1-2 pitch. There's a looping foul off first. He was jammed. Out of play. And, of course, the Galbraiths would be hopeful that their horse, Roberto, will do as well as the man after whom he was named has been doing in this series. He is tearing apart Baltimore pitching, but so far to no avail. Clemente, that is. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Palmer. Johnson's just misses outside. Palmer got the pole out of the water that time. Looked like it was going fishing. 2-2 delivery, and there's a high pop out into Bobby Clemente territory. And the basket catch, and there's 1 away. James Alvin Palmer going to be 26 years of age on the 15th of October, just a couple of days from now. Born in New York, grew up in Los Angeles, attended high school in Scottsdale. 6 years of age on the 15th of October, just a couple of days from now. Born in New York, grew up in Los Angeles, attended high school in Scottsdale. He was an all-state ball player in baseball, basketball, and football. And then he went to Arizona State and finally to Towson State College in Towson, Maryland. Here now is Don Buford. He went out first base to pitcher covering in the first inning, and Johnson starts him off with a slow ball, a slow curve to the outside for a called strike, 0-1. Baltimore leading 1-0 here in the bottom of the third. Buford started to move in on a fastball that time and took it off the right shoulder, leaning away, 1-1. Outfield for Pittsburgh, swung to the right. Bob Johnson on the 1-1 delivery. Fastball hit foul over into the Pirate dugout on the first base side. One ball and two strikes. Hebner, Hernandez, Cash, and Robertson, the Pirate infield. Stargell, Oliver, and Clemente in the outfield. There's a swing and a miss on a very bad change. Bad for Buford, good for Johnson. And that is his first strikeout of the ball game. Now Merv Rettenmund, who flied out to left field in a changeup back in the first inning. Hit a home run in the first game, and it was a key blow as it drove in 3 runs and provided Baltimore with a lead which they never surrendered. He's a right-hand batter. His right foot is actually out of the batter's box. There's a breaking ball to the outside corner for the called strike, 0-1. Baltimore leading 1-0. They scored in the second, in case you just joined us, when Frank Robinson singled. There's a beautiful pitch for Johnson to the outside corner, called strike 2. Hendricks then walked after the Frank Robinson single, and Brooks Robinson hit a 3-2 pitch off the end of the bat into center field to plate Frank Robinson, and the Baltimore lead 1-0. Johnson 2 down, none on in the third. Here's the delivery, and it's check swing, bounced slowly down to second. Coming up, Cash, the ball runs up his arm, but he throws on to Robertson to retire Rettenmund and the Orioles in 1-2-3 fashion. At the end of 3 full innings of play, Baltimore 1 and Pittsburgh 0.
30 seconds for Stacy.
Manny Sanguin, the batter, swings and drives it off the right side, takes a funny hop over toward Johnson from the deep second base, throws him out. Ball hit off the mound out there and took a funny hop, actually took a Baltimore bounce. Looked like it was headed to go on into center field, but it bounced counting off to the other side where Johnson was able to make the play, and from back on the outfield turf, he threw out Sanguin, and there's one away. Baltimore leading 1-0 here in the top half of the fourth as Jackie Hernandez, Pirate shortstop, stands in. Fly to center field his first time up. Palmer starts him off low and away, ball 1. Outfield shaded to the right on Hernandez. And the 1-0 pitch is hit foul right over our head and a count of 1-1. In the first 3 innings, Palmer delivered 63 pitches. One ball and 1 strike. Here in the Pirate 4th inning, the 1-1 pitch. There's a foul off to the right, upper deck, out of play. A little more room to retire batters on pop fouls here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. As the stands billow out off the foul territory, a considerable bit of range. 1-2 pitch. There's a change. It's outside, 2-2. Really pulled the string on that one. Brilliant sunshiny day. The outfield a little heavy going because of the heavy rains. Some 2 inches fell yesterday. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Hernandez pops the foul off the right side. Boog Powell comes over, and it looks like it'll get up into the seats, and it does. Just over the Pirate dugout. Boog Powell might have a little trouble getting a foul ball over along the railing there. That's predominantly a National League side. And they might be expected to give him a little argument about catching a foul ball that's at least a row or 2 rows deep.
Then you can look at it this way. Who wants to argue with Boog Powell?
Yeah. Yes, but you got to do a little thinking about that one, Jim. There's no question about that. Ball 2, strike 2 to Jackie Hernandez. Palmer's delivery, he almost hit him. Spun him off the plate way inside. 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 1 out and an on in the 4th. Baltimore leading 1-0. Pirates in with 3 hits. Baltimore in with 2. The Bucks have had 6 runners stranded. Baltimore just 1. Pirates had to have a big double play in that second inning and got it on a line drive by Johnson. With a run in, Davey Johnson lined one to Cash, and that doubled up Hendricks to get Bob Johnson out of a bad inning. 3-2 delivery is a base hit right up the middle. And that is the 4th hit of the ball game, and the Pirates have had at least 1 runner on in every inning. In fact, they've had 2 on in every inning. Now the batter, Bob Johnson, who went up there to bunt back in the second inning and was not at all successful.
Number 27, Johnson.
Brooks Robinson shortens up a little bit now at third, anticipating a bunt try here by Pirate batter Bob Johnson. And it's blowing away ball 1. The Buccos, when they have a good bunting pitcher up there, many times will employ the run and bunt. One ball, no strikes. They were not running and bunting that time. Palmer, from the funny stretch, sends a strike. That time it looked like he was going to come all the way to the waist. He stopped right at the neck and came with his pitch. You have to take a little closer look at him. A ball and a strike. His set position is not at the belt. At least it wasn't on that pitch. And again, high, and a swing by Johnson this time, and a foul back. Palmer has gone 3-2 more times and lost. There's a pitch high. We're just checking our stats sent to us. Palmer has gone 3-2 3 times and lost all 3 times those batters. And now he's up to 2-2. He's issued a couple of walks. And he got a hit here by Hernandez. There's a swing by Johnson, and that strikes him out. That's the 4th. So on the 3 men that he went 3-2, Hebner, Stargell, and Robertson, he lost them on a walk, and he went 3-2 to Hernandez, and he got a base hit. So the key to the game for the Pirates, maybe, is to get the 3-2 with Palmer. Here's Dave Cash. He flied to center field his last time up, and it was a fine catch on a sinking liner by Rettenmund. Grounded out to short in the first inning. 2 down for the Pirates in the 4th. 1-0 Baltimore. Quick throw over to first base, and the runner Hernandez is back. Boog Powell holding to him. Now Palmer ready, and the delivery. Here's a strike at the letters called. Cash is playing plate as an opposite field hitter. He can pull, but rarely does. The 0-1 delivery is a change. It's way inside, and that time Palmer got away, fortunately, with a pitch that hung inside, out over the plate, and Cash might have lashed at it. He threw a hanging curvy that time. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here in the Pirates' 4th, quick throw to first. Good move by Palmer. Back in the nest, Jackie Hernandez. Palmer on the 1-1, and Cash hits a line drive toward left, and Buford comes on, and it hits him almost in the stomach, but he holds on to it. Lined it right into Buford's tummy. No runs, a hit, no errors, and a man left at the end of
the 4th inning. It'll be Boog Powell, Frank Robinson, and Ellie Hendricks in this 1-0 ball game as Johnson warms up. We noticed that Davey Cash in the first ball game went 1 for 4, but the other 3 times at bat he hit 3 line drives. Today has been retired on a fine play by Belanger at shortstop, and the last 2 times has been caught by Rettenmund and Buford with fine running catches of his sinking line drives in the outfield. So Cash has stung the ball, but the statistics show him 1 for 7. Boog Powell steps up, and Bob Prince steps in.
right yard, Jim Simpson, and here's Boog Powell. He was jammed in the first inning and was thrown out by Cash. The infield shift is on. Hernandez, Cash, and Robertson all on the first base side of second, and Boog Powell fouls one back. So it's no balls and a strike. Hebner wide of third, perhaps some 25 feet. Clemente back on the warning track in deep right. Clemente, however, normally will play a power hitter like Boog Powell, rather shallow. He can go back and get a ball, and he doesn't like to give you too much territory to dump one in there. The 0-1 pitch is upstairs around the middle of the cap, a ball, 1-1. But however, where Clemente is playing is a rather shallow right field to begin with. In a deeper ballpark, he'd play much farther in on Powell. Change up on the outside corner of Beauty for a called strike. 1-2. Just flipped it up there. Changing speeds. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Baltimore a run on 2 hits. The Pirates none on 4. And thus far a game that is errorless as we play in the bottom of the 4th. And Boog Powell the batter. And he hammers one down the right side. Cash goes to the left nicely, picks it up, throws to Robertson, and there's one away. Now there's a ball, but for the shift would have been a base hit. Oh, there's one down, and here's Frank Robinson. He hit one off the end of the bat into center field in the 2nd inning, and later came around to score when Brooks Robinson brought him home with a single. He fouls one straight back. Frank Robinson holds that bat perpendicular to the ground and crowds that plate. Not quite as much as when we used to see him all the time when he played for Cincinnati several years back. He's still well up on the plate. Johnson on the 0-1 sends him a fastball low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Baltimore 1 run on 2 hits. The Pirates no runs on 4. 1 out and none on in the Baltimore 4th inning. 3rd and 4th games, 5th if necessary, in Pittsburgh starting tomorrow. 1 ball and 1 strike pitch. And there's a foul coming back. And Len Dillon, with that wary eye of his, just does a little head feint. A ball and 2 strikes. F.E. A ball, 2 strikes to Frank Robinson. Johnson working quickly. Comes back on the 1-2 with a fastball. It's hit foul off third past Billy Hunter. It is 309 down both lines here. You have to be a dead pull hitter to take advantage of it. The wall, however, is 14 feet in height. Now the 1-2 delivery again. A changeup hit to the hole in left field for the base hit. So Frank Robinson, picking on a changeup, gets the 3rd Baltimore base hit, his 2nd. And with 1 down, here is Ellie Hendricks, who drew a walk in the 2nd inning. Johnson's change was up into the eyes of Frank Robinson, and he belted it. So Ellie Hendricks in. 1 out and 1 on in the Baltimore 4th, and they lead 1-0. Baltimore has won 15 games in a row. And Hendricks started off with a fastball inside. Ball 1 and no strikes. Really play Hendricks to pull. Apparently the Pirates scouting report is such that he'll go more to right and right center. And they really swung around. Here's a ball that almost hit him. In fact, it did hit him. Got him on the ankle. Now here's Brooks Robinson with the same situation as he had in the 2nd inning. There were none out when he singled to drive in Frank Robinson. Now there's 1 out. And that immediately starts some activity in the Pirate bullpen. And it is Bruce Kison up again. Brooks Robinson lined a single up the middle in the 2nd inning. A little bit of a summit meeting out on the mound with Hernandez, Johnson, and Sanguin.
Number 5, Brooks Robinson.
Robinson hit 20 home runs in the regular season. Outfield for the Pirates straightaway. Deep in left is Willie Stargell. 2 men on for Baltimore in the 4th. And a little too much time taken by Johnson, so Brooksy steps out. speed on the base paths. And a good fastball to the outside corner, thigh high for a called strike. 0-1. Kison up for the second time. Kison. Bruce Kison in the Pirate bullpen. And a fastball inside. The Sanguin appealing to the plate umpire to look to first to John Rice. But no, it was a body swing. In 1970, when Johnson was in the American League, he led the league with hit batsmen 11. The man who's warming up out there leads them all in hit batsmen. 28 last year. Bruce Kison. 1 ball, 1 strike. Missed outside, ball 2, 2-1, and Johnson staring. Thought he might have had a little piece of the black there. The black part of the plate actually is not in the strike zone. Ball 2 and strike 1. Frank Robinson at second and Ellie Hendricks at first. The Orioles lead 1-0 here in the fourth. Now the 2-1 delivery is low and away, and it's ball 3. 3 balls and a strike. Johnson trying that time with his fastball, and it went outside. Johnson went deep in the strike and ball and strike count to Brooks Robinson in the second inning, and it cost him. Runners lead away now, and the 3-1 pitch to Brooks, and there's a ball hammered foul down the left field line. That was a wicked smash, but foul. No, the runners now will cut diagonally across the diamond to return to their positions. Robinson going back to second, and Ellie Hendricks back to first, and Brooks Robinson with a count now of 3-2. We'll watch the runners. They were not going back in the second inning. We'll see what Earl Weaver may or may not having him do here in the fourth. Ball 3, strike 2. From the set, they're running, and the pitch is ball 4. That's the second walk. Frank Robinson has moved to third. Ellie Hendricks has gone to second. The Orioles have the bases loaded to Davey Johnson, who lined into a double play back in the second inning. The runners that time on the 3-2 pitch to Brooks Robinson were going. Now Davey Johnson standing in. Pirate infield is normal. At double play depth. The outfield is straight away to this power batter. Orioles leading 1-0. And Johnson now appears that he'll pitch from the stretch rather than wind, and that's exactly what he'll do. Here's a look and the pitch, and it's a long foul to left field, hit way into the upper deck. Jim Simpson and I were talking to Earl Weaver down on the bench for the game, and Jim, it's interesting to note that Earl Weaver didn't seem to feel too badly about playing in Pittsburgh on tartan surface, although the Orioles only 1 year out here, of course, play against one ball club against Chicago with the synthetic turf.
Well, he's got to remember also, Bob, that he opened up in Cincinnati last year and had no problems at all down there, and it's virtually the same kind of field up at Pittsburgh, at least with artificial turf everywhere except around the back.
No balls and a strike to Davey Johnson. Orioles have the bases loaded. And the pitch from Bob Johnson, an off-speed pitch blocked into the dirt and held in front of him by Sanguin. No advance by the runners. 1 ball and 1 strike. Orioles scored in the second inning, if you're just tuning in, when Frank Robinson singled. Hendricks walked, and Brooks Robinson on a 3-2 pitch singled up the middle. Then Davey Johnson lined into a double play, and Bob Johnson was out of trouble. But here they have him in a deep peck of trouble with 3 on and 1 out to Davey Johnson in the Baltimore fourth, and they lead 1-0. Here's the 1-1 delivery. It's outside, and it's ball 2. Meanwhile, the Pirates have had ample opportunity to score against Palmer. With 1 out, Hebner walked, and Clemente singled. And with 2 on and 1 out, Palmer got out of trouble. In the second inning, Robertson walked and Sanguin singled, and with 2 on and none out, again Palmer got out of trouble. And in the third, 1 out, Clemente doubled, Stargell walked, and again Palmer got out of trouble. The delivery, a bouncer down wide at third, in the hole, base hit to left. It'll score 1 run, Here comes a throw by Stargell into second, and they're safe there. And the Orioles lead 3-0.
Bob Johnson started, worked 3 1/3 innings. Bruce Kison pitched the 2 men. Now it's Bob Moose inside to Hendricks. Ball 1 with the fastball. Hendricks had an infield hit first World Series game on Saturday. Walked and hit by a pitch in this one. Moose back inside again, backing him up. It's 2-0. Clemente did a fine job in getting to the fly ball of Frank Robinson. And then that right arm of his, about which you've heard, I'm sure. What a magnificent throw. One hop to Hebner, and Rettenmund just did beat him. 2 balls, no strikes. Line drive up the middle over the outstretched glove of Hernandez, and scoring from third is Rettenmund. Now the ball gets past Al Oliver. Boog Powell is on his way around third base. He's being waved in. The throw is to third base. Powell scores, and in at third base is Ellie Hendricks. Score is 6-0 Baltimore. Base hit for Hendricks, and then the error on Oliver, which allowed the run to score. Two-base error with 1 out. Hendricks is over at third base. And here is Brooks Robinson, who has singled, walked, and scored a run. Baltimore out in front, 6-0. Infield comes in, drives center field. Oliver was very deep. It'll drop in front of him, and scoring easily will be Hendricks. It is 7-0. For Brooks Robinson was playing way back in center field. And that little looper was so far in front of him that Hendricks only had to walk home. Here's Davey Johnson. Bob Moose has checked to first base. Johnson lined into a double play in the second inning, singled in the fourth, and then was thrown out on a great throw by Stargell from left field, trying to score after the catch. Moose ready, strike on the outside corner with a fastball. Now, while the score is 4-0, you can always say the tying run can always come to bat. Once you get to 5, it can't. When it goes to 7-0, you are in trouble. Moose ready, 1 strike. To Johnson, hit off the fist, very short center field. Oliver comes on, falls in front of him. Brooks Robinson stops at second. There's 1 out, 2 on, and Mark Belanger coming up. Are earned. Bill Burden is out again from the Pirates dugout, and he'll be going apparently to the bullpen. Looks like he's signaling for the left-hander to face Belanger, and that would be Big Bob Veale, who's been up and throwing. Well, Earl Weaver has said all along, we have the best team in the history of baseball. 3 consecutive years of more than 100 victories, 4 20-game winners. Danny Murtaugh said all along, we have won in the toughest division of the toughest league. And we've got a great hitting ball club. Don't underrate us. As of the moment, Baltimore leads 1-0 and 7-0 in the second game. Bob?
You know, Jim, one of the things that in the first game, as you and I observed, and everybody all over the world would listen to us, they brought out the long ball in Frank Robinson, Rettenmund, and Buford for the home runs they had to have to overcome a 3-0 lead and to win the ball game 5-3. Here they have not really crashed anything for extra bases. They've hit the ball hard on a couple of occasions, but they've had a lot of what you would call bleeders, balls that just barely got in, but get in they did. And, of course, the Pirate outfield has had to play back on these hitters, and when you get them off the end of the bat, as you just described, or off the fist, they're dropping in there. Now, Big Bob Veale is coming in, and while you're checking on him, Bob Moose went 1 inning, is charged thus far with 3 runs on 5 hits, no strikeouts and no walks, and Veale now becomes the 4th pitcher of the afternoon for the Pirates, Jim.
Bob, Veale did not work in championship games against the Giants, but you saw this all year. You talked about it on Saturday. Explain it. Veale, 6-0 on the year. Earned run average 7.04.
Yes, he had the good fortune of, while he gave up runs and all, the Pirates happened to be in those streaks when he was pitching, when they would score 12 and 13 and 14 runs. And in that time that he picked up his 6 victories in relief, basically the Pirates happened to be in a streak where they would hit not 1 but 2 home runs back-to-back on several occasions. And most of those back-to-back homers came when Veale was in there. They did score a lot against him, and it is an unusual statistic to have an ERA that high and to be 6-0 on the year.
Well, in the 4th inning, the Orioles sent about 8 men and scored 3 times. Here in the 5th inning, they've scored 3 more times, sending 6 men to bat. Rettenmund led off with a single to right, hitting the first pitch. Boog Powell followed with a single that he's never been in a World Series game. Comes in with Brooks Robinson on at second, Davey Johnson on at first. 3 runs in, 7-0 to score in the second game of the World Series. Baltimore leads. Belanger 2 for 4 in the first game, lined back to Johnson, the pitcher at that time in the second in this ball game, and walked in the 3-run fourth. Veale, the left-hander. This is the first left-hander the Pirates have thrown, as there's a pitch low and away from Belanger, at the Orioles in this series. It's been Johnson, Kison, and Moose in today's game, and on Saturday, Ellis, Moose, and Miller, all right-handers. Here's Veale, the left-hander. 1-ball pitch. Breaking pitch, low and inside, 2-0. Be quite honest about the World Series thus far. Baltimore fans have had everything to cheer for, and Pittsburgh fans have had nothing to cheer for. Broke on top, 3-0 Saturday. That was short-lived. They lost it 5-3. 2-0 the count to Belanger. Started to go for a low pitch. Holds up. It is 3-0. Now back in the 4th inning, Belanger walked, the bases loaded, and then Jim Palmer followed him against Kison with a walk to drive in a run. Taking all the way, it's too low on 4 pitches. Veale. Walks Belanger. Brooks Robinson goes to third base. Davey Johnson goes to second base. That's the 5th walk. 3 by Kison and Veale among them in 3 batters that they faced total. Here's Palmer, who walked to force in that run and walked on 4 pitches. From Kison back in the 4th inning. Veale ready to throw to Palmer, the right-handed pitcher who also bats right-handed, and he takes ball outside. Well, Bob Gibson was talking with us up in Pittsburgh last week and talking about the Pirate bullpen, saying it's the best in the National League. Kison, Moose have failed thus far today. The ball game is nearly out of hand. Another low pitch, and Veale hasn't found the strike zone yet in 6 pitches, and Manny Sanguillen walks out and says a few unpleasant words to his pitcher. Jackie Hernandez comes in as Veale strides off towards Sanguillen. 7 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Orioles. No runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for the Pirates. Pirates have scored in the series thus far 3 unearned runs. Pirates have thus far in this series a total of 7 hits. 2 of those have been for extra bases, both of them hit by Roberto Clemente, doubles to right. Conference over. Sanguillen comes back. Palmer, a count of 2-0 with the bases loaded and 1 out in the last of the 5th. Tomorrow, Mike Cuellar and Steve Blass, the pitchers. Low, it is ball 3. I would imagine Mr. Palmer will be taken. Pitcher at bat, bases loaded, 3-0. He's waving the bat, but he's not swinging, and there's a strike. And that ball was not in the strike zone by much. In around the knees on the inside part of the plate. 3 balls, 1 strike. Palmer looks down to Billy Hunter, his third base coach, to see if he should take again. I assume he will be doing. And he is. Misses. Palmer, for the second time, has driven in a run with a walk.
Jim, I don't know if they keep records on this, but back-to-back bases loaded walks by a pitcher in the World Series for 2 runs batted in is, if it isn't a record, it's sure pushing one.
Well, Danny Murtaugh has sent out Bruce Kison and then Bob Veale with moves in between, and on each occasion the man has walked the first 2 men he has faced, walked the first one to load the bases, walked the second one, as Bob said, to be the pitcher to force in a run. The 9th man to bat in this inning is John Buford, who switches around for the first time in this series to the right side. Switch hitter, bases remain loaded. But Johnson now at third, Belanger down at second, and Palmer on at first. Bob Miller up and throwing, low and in the dirt and dug out by Manny Sanguin. Veale has now thrown 10 pitches, one of which has been a strike. 8-0 the score. Ready again. Buford swings, fouls it out of play, down the right field line and in the seats. Bob Miller pitching on Saturday, up and warming again. Miller has been around the American League for years, and of course, this year in the National League. Started out in the National League, as I recall. 1-1. Inside, almost hit. Buford ducks out of the way, and Sanguin again, having to jump behind Buford to take the ball, did a fine job. They'll hold on to it and prevent still another run from scoring. 4 runs have already scored in this, the 5th inning. 2 balls, 1 strike. Buford singles, puts it up the middle. Cash has it. Down to second base as the run scores. Looked like a single. Veale hit it on his arm. Rolled to Cash. Flipped underhand to Hernandez. Buford gets an RBI. And the scoring goes 1-4-6 on the 4th play. But Buford winding up at first base, and on to third base goes Belanger. They're now 2 out. And of course Johnson scored on the RBI by Buford. It is 9-0. Here is Rettenmund, who started it all with a base hit on the first pitch. Ball 1 from Veale outside. Last couple of innings have been a nightmare for the Buccos. Beautiful for the Orioles. It was 1-0 going into the 4th. Pitch is too low. It's 2-0. 8 men went to bat in the 4th inning for Baltimore, and this is the 10th man up in the 5th. 9-0. 5th inning. 2-0. Rettenmund has it go outside on him. It is 3 balls, no strikes. Veale ready, strike. Well, there are only 4 clubs in history that have come back from a best of 7 series after being down 2-0, but Bob Prince remembers, and perhaps you do too, that in 1960, hold it, here's the pitch. Base hit, right field. The 10th run scores as trotting home is Belanger. On the way to third is Buford. And it's 10-0. Rettenmund has 2 hits in this inning. That run is charged to Veale. And now the Moose record is complete. 5 earned runs on a total of 5 hits. Hits now in the ball game and 10 runs for Baltimore. And big Boo Powell steps in with 2 outs. Started to say, Bob, that in 1960, when the Pirates won that great series with the Yankees 4-3, as the Pirates lost in that series, they were losing something like 12-0. They were really taking beatings, but they came back to win the series. Buford at third, Rettenmund at first. Powell hits one off the fist. Cash charging from second base. Scoops it on over to Robertson, and they are out of the inning. But 6 runs scored on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. There was 1 costly error. And 2 men left. He's gone 5 complete innings, and believe it or not, Baltimore 10, Pittsburgh nothing.
Jack Hernandez.
strong wind continues to blow from left to right. The only man that's taken advantage of it today thus far is Clemente, who has rattled a double off the wall out there. Here's ball one to Hernandez. And also sent Frank Robinson to the wall to haul in a long line drive. Jim Palmer. Strike, took something off the fastball, and Hernandez swung and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. They haven't posted the attendance yet, but as Bob was saying a little bit earlier, I am sure it is at least the 52,000 mark. It was slightly over that on Saturday. This is Columbus Day, and for the state of Maryland, government has some time off. Foul down the right field line. Boog Powell goes out. Frank Robinson comes over, but it's well in the seats. One ball, 2 strikes. Robertson on at first. 1 out, Hernandez the batter. Bob Miller continues to throw. Charlie Sands, one of the catchers for the Pirates, has come into the dugout. Could come out as a pinch hitter. And Sands now comes out under the on-deck circle. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Hernandez. Palmer ready. Throws the fastball. It's too high. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Sands, a former Yankee. Big man. Palmer, and for that matter, the Pirate pitchers have not been too successful with the 3-2 count. They've lost nearly everybody. Either by walk or base hit, and he walks Hernandez. Robertson goes down to second. 6 walks for Jim Palmer, and here comes Sands. Not yet put in the ball game. Sands did not appear in the championship playoffs. And this year with the Pirates was only about 25 times and hit 200.
Your attention, please. Batting for Veale, number 4, Charlie Sands.
Well, Bob, if this should stretch out to a long series, we can point to the fact that thus far, at least, the Orioles have not had to go to their bullpen, and the Pirates have made quite a few dips there.
Well, they certainly have done all of that. And one thing, of course, the Orioles, with 4 20-game winners, could establish the first time ever 4 victories by 4 20-game winners that went 4 straight games. And that's not beyond the realm of possibility.
Sands takes low and away from Jim Palmer, ball 1. To nothing. Baltimore. But the Pirates have 2 men on. Swing and a miss at a high fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Down at second base is Bob Robertson. On at first is Hernandez. The lead man, Robertson, does not possess a great speed, but he won't be called on to use it too much in that they need a lot of runs, not daring base running. Back with the pitch. It's too high. 2 balls, 1 strike. Now Hendricks runs out to say something to Palmer. The shadows of the light towers have begun to extend over the left field roof, reaching out toward the mound and reaching out into left field. Right field and center field, where Robinson and Rettenmund are stationed, are entirely in the clear. And what a difference between today and Saturday. Rainy, soggy day in Baltimore today. Crystal clear, high skies, temperature in the 60s. Oh, look out in the stands. A bat slips out of the hands of Sands and goes into the stands. And Sands walks back, swings and misses, and Sands is so concerned he's coming back. Looks like a youngster there, but it looks also to me, Bob Prince, without being able to tell from here, that no one at least is seriously hurt. They're all milling around and looking.
I put the glasses down there, and everybody's all right, and the youngster has the bat. Many times in regular season play, they'll give the bat back to the batter and give him another bat. Now, just what they'll do here, we don't know. That's obviously Sands way out in front of a pitch. Might have been guessing a fastball there, as you described, Jim, and the ball was a little let-upper, and he just really came around it, and it's just fine. Everybody's all right, and Sands has a new bat and is going back to business.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Bob, you also pointed out that there's a lot of room here to catch those foul pop-ups. So when I say that Sands let the ball slip, it went into the seats. It is, they're giving the bat to the little boy. That's why the applause.
Switching down there as they had, and many times a man gets his bat back and they put one back in there. There is a lot of room, as you described, Jim, so it took a lot of the force off it.
Sands now steps back in, left-handed batter, and takes the ball from Jim Palmer. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Palmer, remember, lost Hernandez on 3-2. Lost Robertson on 3-1, and he's thrown a lot of pitches today and comes in and strikes out Sands with a fastball. And as Bob leaves over and tells me, it's the first time that Jim Palmer has gotten out of a 3-2 situation. Here's Dave Cash, 0 for 3 today, 1 for 7 in the series. Baltimore leads it by 10 runs, 10-0. We are in the Pittsburgh 6th. In the 6th, Palmer has walked 2, struck out 2, ready to throw to Cash, who does not go around, according to Ed Shudall, the plate umpire. Check swing, ball 1. Tomorrow afternoon, 12:45 Eastern Time. Game 3 of the World Series. And wherever it is that you are listening, whether in Europe, South America, Asia, a ship at sea, or here in the United States, I hope you'll be with us. Pirates have quite a job cut out for themselves. 1 ball pitch, and it's check swing to Boog Powell at first base. Underhand flip to Palmer's over in plenty of time, and Palmer, after walking 2 men, gets out of the inning on a couple of strikes out and an infield grounder. No runs, hits, or errors. 2 left. We go to the last of the 6th. With Baltimore leading Pittsburgh 10-0.
A very commanding 10-0 lead. Now the Pirates have gone to their 5th pitcher, and they're bringing in for the 2nd time in this series Bob Miller. Miller, in the first game, appeared in the 7th inning. He had an overall record during the season of 8-5, obtained by the Pirates from the San Diego Padres. And in that first game, he pitched 2 innings, allowing no runs. While he did surrender 3 base hits, he did not walk anybody. And 2 of the 3 hits were infield singles. And he had 1 strikeout. So now he comes on in relief of Bob Veale, who went 2/3 of an inning for 1 run on 1 hit, didn't strike out anybody, and walked a pair. And that is in part an answer to the question Jim Simpson asked a while ago. Why Veale, the 6-0 record, with the highest ERA you ever saw, a little up over 7, for a man that's won 6 and lost none. And in 2/3 of an inning, that is embellished, if that is the proper word, with regard to adding on to the ERA. So Miller now comes on to try to stem the tide, and what perhaps Jim Simpson, the Pirates need more than anything, even if they don't win, is an inning in which they score 4 or 5 runs and at least get the feeling they can score against this Baltimore club.
Miller will throw to Frank Robinson, and Robinson hits the first pitch out into right center field. Over comes Clemente and Oliver. It bounces between them, and Robinson is in with his 3rd base hit of this game and his 5th of the series. He is now 5 for 8. And the Pirates go right back into trouble. Leadoff batter, Robinson on base. And now we are going to get Paul Blair coming out to run for Frank Robinson, who gets ahead. Blair undoubtedly will go into center field. Rettenmund perhaps moving to right. Here's Hendricks. He has walked, been hit on the ankle by a pitch and scored, and singled and scored. Miller ready. Hits the first pitch. It is by Hebner at 3rd base. Blair, with a lot of speed, goes around second base and plays in front of Stargell up. He throws back to second base, and runners are at the corners, 1st and 3rd, with none out. First ball hitting against Miller. 2 pitches, 2 singles. The Orioles have sent 8 men to bat in the 4th and 10 in the 5th, have the first 2 on here in the 6th. And here is Brooks Robinson, who has 2 singles, a walk, and 2 runs scored. And a run batted in. Well, the Pirates will be glad to get home tonight. The question is, can they forget this one by tomorrow? They'll have to. 10 runs, 12 hits now. No errors for the Orioles. No runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for the Pirates. Bob Miller following Veale, who followed Moose, who followed Kison, who followed the starter, Bob Johnson. Miller throws. Ball one outside. Looked like a slider that didn't catch the corner. Frank Robinson single on the first pitch to center field. Elrod Hendricks pushed one to the left on the first pitch, and here is Brooks Robinson taking a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Back again with a breaking pitch that misses. 2 balls, 1 strike. Well, at World Series time, of course, it's not just the games. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes action, major league meetings, league meetings, meetings with the commissioner, trades, looking for jobs. 2-1, and it's now 3-1. Fastball is low and away. And I wonder if you read the trade that the Milwaukee Brewers and Boston Red Sox made. Perhaps you listening around the world have not. The Milwaukee Brewers get, among others, George Scott, Joe LaHood, Billy Canigliaro, and Jim Lonborg. 3-1 pitch, right back through Miller's legs. Base hit. It is 11-0 as Blair simply trots home and Hendricks goes down to second. Batters and 3 straight base hits given up by Bob Miller. To complete that trade I was talking about, the Brewers sent, among others, Tommy Harper and pitcher Marty Patton and pitcher Lou Krause to the Red Sox. Undoubtedly, there will be more trades before this series is over. That's a supposition. Strike 1 to Dave Johnson, who was lined into a double play and singled twice, driven in a couple of runs, and scored a couple. Out in front of a curveball and drives it foul upstairs. To show you the kind of day it is for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Miller is in a heap of trouble. 3 base hits, 1 run, nobody out, and nobody is stirring in the Pirate bullpen. They've gone to 4 men already. Two strikes to count to Johnson. Breaking pitch pulled down the line. It is foul. Left field line. In the corner, just foul. Well, we've had quadruplets here today. Accepting Bruce Kison, Bob Johnson, Bob Moose, Bob Veale, Bob Miller, and Bob Prince. Strike 2 the count to Johnson. 11-0. Miller ready, pitching from the stretch, high with the pitch. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Miller again checks back with the runner Hendricks at second and throws and catches the outside corner with a fastball and strikes out Davey Johnson. The kind of day it has been. That is the second strikeout by the Pirates staff. Johnson very nearly came up with base hits, pulling the ball down the line twice, but then is called out on strike. Belanger has lined out and walked twice and scored a run. 1 out now. Miller ready, throwing, bouncing ball up the middle. Cash is there near second base, steps on second, fires on to first, not in time, as Hendricks moves on to third base. 2 out, and here's Jim Palmer, and he will get a hand. Palmer is fly to right and twice walked with the bases loaded, a drive and a run. Bouncing ball, backhanded by Bob Robertson, runs over, steps on the bag, and Miller and the Pirates are out of it. But another run scores on 3 base hits. There were no errors and 2 men left. They've now gone 6 full innings in the second game of the World Series, and Baltimore leads the Pirates 11-0. Paul Blair
Blair has now gone to center field, and remaining in the ball game will bat in the lineup position of Frank Robinson in the number 4 spot. Merv Rettenmund remains in the number 2 spot, but will be now in right field. There have been 36 batters go to the plate for the Baltimore Orioles. Everybody has scored but Buford and Palmer. Everybody's hit but Buford, Belanger, and Palmer, and Palmer's driven in 2 runs, Jim.
Rich Hebner, Bob, leads off the Pittsburgh 7th and takes ball 1 outside. Palmer working very fast now with that 11-0 lead. Throws, and Hebner fouls it back into the seats behind home plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Pirates have now, in this 1971 World Series, have gone 15 innings with 2 extra base hits and not a single earned run. Hebner ready. Line inside. 2 balls, 1 strike. From Palmer to Rich Hebner. Hebner did not play yesterday. Walked in the first inning today, grounded out, and struck out. Palmer working very fast. Ball pulled foul down by Boog Powell at first base. And it eludes the right field umpire there, Mr. Shutout, who now chases it down. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Hebner. Now tomorrow it'll be Mike Cuellar for Baltimore. Steve Blass for Pittsburgh. Low with the pitch. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Blass in the league championship opener pitched 5 innings, struck out 9, but lost the ball game, and he was rescued by Kison, fouled at the plate by Hebner, and went off his ankle. He's hopping around. Blass was in trouble on Wednesday out in Pittsburgh in the final game of the National League Championship, and it was Bruce Kison who came on to bail him out and go on and pitch excellent ball. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Hebner. And then it will definitely be Pat Dobson for Baltimore. There's ball 4 to Hebner. Palmer has walked his 7th man. That'll bring up Clemente, who has done everything. He had a double and a single, 2 for 4 on Saturday. He is 2 for 3 today, a single and a double, and lined a ball off the wall that Robinson happened to be there to glove in the 5th inning. Clemente, quite a hitting star. 11-0. Pat Dobson is going to have quite a debut as a Major League World Series pitcher, in that he will pitch in the first night game in World Series history, Wednesday night. I'm wondering, Bob, do they go back to Doc Ellis? Palmer throws, slow, breaking pitch, strike.
That's one thing Danny Murtaugh refuses to do just yet. It would be the speculation by many it would be Doc Ellis, but Danny has yet to say that's the case.
Unstrike the count to Clemente. They've been playing Clemente around to right, and that's the place to play him. He hits to right, drives this one to the right, popped up. Powell lost it for a moment. Davey Johnson over. Rettenmund playing in right, comes over and makes a great catch in foul territory. Behind the tarp and next to the seat. And again, we start talking about Baltimore defense. Willie Stargell, who is 0 for 18, but has walked 3 times, is up. For 18, of course, in the championship series, takes high, ball 1, plus the World Series. Ball 2. Palmer has now walked 7. The Pirates staff has walked 6. Check me on that, Bob. That's 13. Most walks in a series game is 19, so they're nowhere near that yet. Hebner over at first base with the walk. Stargell fouls one back. It's 2 balls, 1 strike. On a 2-2 pitch in the first inning, Palmer challenged Stargell, gave him a high fastball, and Willie went for it and struck out. On a 3-1 pitch in the third, 3-2 pitch in the fifth, Stargell drew a walk on each occasion. Ground ball. Johnson is over. Stargell has his first base hit of the series. As it goes out to center field, Blair fumbles the ball, and on to third base goes Hebner, but he was making his move toward third base in any event. Willie Stargell breaks the ice. That is just the 5th hit for the Pirates in this game. And that's the first time that we have had a Pirate in this ball game as far as third base. Here's Al Oliver. 0 for 3. Palmer struck out everybody on a fastball, and this one is foul down the left field line. May make the seats. Buford over, and it is in the seats. Started to say that Palmer, of the 8 strikeouts he has, 7 are with the fastball, but Oliver at bat now went for a change-up curve to strike out in the 5th inning. 11 runs, 13 hits, no errors for the Orioles, no runs, 5 hits, 1 error for the Pirates. Pirates 7th inning, second game of the World Series. And thus far, you'd have to say everything you heard or read about the 20-game winners of Baltimore, at least in the persons of McNally and Palmer, is absolutely true. 1 strike pitch, popped up, foul, out of play again. 2 strikes. Over and back of the Oriole dugout at third base. Looking down that Pirate pitching roster, wondering whether or not Doc Ellis would go on Wednesday night. Might be Luke Walker. To pull. Around to the right. Foul is not holding the runner Stargell on. Low. It is 1 ball, 2 strikes. Baltimore, and we'll check on it, now has a man throwing. Curve, change, strike 3. 9 strikeouts for Jim Palmer. Second time Oliver has struck out. And Big Dick Hall is up and throwing in the Baltimore bullpen. One of those veteran pitchers, well in his 40s. Used to series pressure. 2 out. Here is Bob Robertson, who has walked twice and struck out. The outfield now swings around the other way. Playing him to left, which is off the corner. Fastball. Ball 1. Hall, graduate of Swarthmore in Pennsylvania, actually started his career with the Pirates. Now he's with the Orioles. Overhand pitch, it stays up high, and Palmer didn't think so. He thought he was in around the letters. But Ed Sudol says it's ball 2. Hebner at third, Stargell at first. 2 out in the Pirates' 7th. A cool, brisk day in Baltimore. Fastball. Right down the middle. 2 balls, 1 strike. Pirates thus far in the World Series, second game not yet over, have managed 8 hits. 2 of which have been for extra bases. Now they're swinging a fastball. It's 2-2. Palmer in lots of trouble in the first and second and third innings. Since that time, he has been pretty much in control until now. And Robertson strikes out, strikeout number 10. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and the Pirates leave men stranded at first and third. We go to the last of the 7th. The Orioles holding a commanding 11-0 lead over the Pirates.
Chartered by the retail clerk.
Bob Prince, and this is Jim Simpson. As we now start the 7th inning, Buford leads it off by chopping a base ground ball down to Robertson at first base, who steps on the bag, and that's a quick 1 out in the 7th. Merv Rettenmund, slide deep to left, check swing ground ball in the 3rd, and a single twice and scored a run. Now playing in right field, 11-0 the score. We're in the last of the 7th. Bob Miller, who followed Veale, moves Kison, and the starter Johnson, working to Rettenmund. There's a fastball that misses outside. It's ball 1. This is Nixon still sitting down below us to the left. Fastball stays inside. It's 2-0. And now Dick Hall is joined by Tom Dukes in the Baltimore bullpen. Just in case. Jim Palmer has struck out 10. His season high was against Cleveland in 8 innings pitched, left a 2-2 tie of 13. Bouncing ball, Hernandez waits at shortstop, takes the high hop, fires on to first, and quickly they're 2 out. And that'll bring up Boog Powell. Powell with a hand that was really hurting him. Had a couple of home runs in the championship playoffs. He is 1 for 7 in the World Series, and his hand is not bothering him that much. Singled and has scored a run. The other 3 times he's been thrown out by Davey Cash down at second base. They put the shift on for him. Ball has popped up foul. Sanguin walks him back. Now throws away his mask. Says, "I've got it." And there's the easiest inning since the first for the Pirate pitching staff. No runs, hits, or errors, none left. We've now gone 7 innings. Baltimore leading Pittsburgh 11-0.
Well, into the Pittsburgh Pirate 8th inning, the attendance has just been announced for Game 2, and it's 53,239, which is 10 more than attended yesterday, and that was a sellout. So presumably the additional 10 are standing somewhere in this ballpark. There had been some question earlier yesterday when the game was rained out as to whether or not this game would be played at night. It was turned down, and the commissioner made the ruling, Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, that they would play it at 1 o'clock, which they have done today. And play it, Baltimore has. And one thing, Jim Simpson, Palmer, while he has walked 7 and struck out 10, has stranded 11 Pirates on the base paths, and the Bucks have only had 1 runner, as you pointed out, as far as third. So Palmer truly has been in command all the way.
Manny Sanguin will lead off the Pittsburgh 8th as Dave Justy begins to throw out in the Pirate bullpen. Sanguin to be followed by Hernandez and then the pitcher. 11-0. They play Sanguin as they do Clemente. He hits the ball to right. He's a right-handed batter. Pitch misses outside. Looked like a slider from Jim Palmer. Ball 1. Fastball. Brooks Robinson comes over, makes a diving stab with the ball, throws on to first. Got it! For Brooks Robinson. They saw it a lot last year against Cincinnati. They've been waiting for the great play of the series, and that's the great one right there. Robinson diving, getting up and throwing. Hernandez steps in, takes low from Jim Palmer. And again, as Rettenmund made the fine catch on Roberto Clemente in the 7th inning with a man on base, the leadoff man here in the 8th inning, despite the fact it's 11-0, there's a swinging strike to Hernandez, is gobbled up by that Baltimore defense. This time, Brooks Robinson. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bob Miller comes out on deck, questionable whether or not he'll be sent out to bat. Depends on what Hernandez does. Palmer working very fast. 1-1, throws the ball just off the corner. 2 balls, 1 strike to Jackie Hernandez, who's flied to center, singled and walked. Crowd in this 11-0 ball game, still buzzing over the diving stab as Hernandez swings and misses. It's 2-2. Brooks Robinson. Commented to me how quickly he gets up to fire on to first base. Not enough to stop the ball. He is up and throwing. Change hits in front of the plate and bounces away from catcher Hendricks. Paul has taken a seat in the Baltimore bullpen. It is Tom Dukes now throwing. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Hernandez. Palmer working very quick with that big lead, throws and walks Hernandez. His 8th walk. And now, going back to sit down is Bob Miller, and coming out. Let's wait a minute. Miller is going back with a bat, and now coming out is Vic Davalillo. Miller was almost back in the Pirate dugout before Davalillo made an appearance. But he's out and ready to swing. Davalillo was up twice without a hit in the championship playoffs, and throughout the season hit at .285. Only at bat 295 times. Now Ed Sudol puts Davalillo in the game. Palmer now says he'd like to throw a couple of pitches if he can, and looks back to second base umpire Ed Vargo to see if he can warm up while they wait for Davalillo. It's a rather brisk, cool afternoon here. Palmer's thrown a lot of pitches.
This is WNBC.
Heated, and Davalillo still swinging the weighted bat. And now strides toward the on-deck circle, or rather toward the batter's box. Davey stepping in left-handed against the right-handed Palmer. Paul Blair walks up a few steps back towards center field. Now he moves over into left center field. Figuring against the fastball of Palmer, Davey is not going to pull the pitch, and there's a strike. Despite the fact it is 11-0, you begin to appreciate Brooks Robinson more and more to realize that there would be 2 on with none out had he not made the great play. There's a strike, 1-1. Had not Brooks made that great play. As it is, 1 out, 1 on. Bouncing ball over the head of Robinson. He can do nothing about that. Around second base and making the turn toward third is Hernandez, but Buford is up with the ball, and now 2 men are on with 1 out. And again, you appreciate that glove of Robinson. Palmer could be in some kind of trouble. That is the 6th hit given up by Jim Palmer, and now we go back to the top of the Pirate batting order. And Dave Cash, hitless today, but 3 times today he hit the ball on the nose. 1 for 8 in the series. 1 out, runners at first and second. Fastball popped up, short center field. Blair moves over to his right and has it for the 2nd out. And that'll bring up Rich Hebner, who has 2 walks, has bookends to a ground out and a swinging 3rd strike. Pirates 8th inning, 11 runs for the Orioles, none for the Pirates. Game 3 tomorrow, 12:45 Eastern Time here on NBC, but that will come from Pittsburgh. Palmer ready to throw to Hebner. Hits the first pitch. High and deep to right field. Rettenmund goes back, looks up. It is gone. And the Pirates get on the scoreboard with their first earned runs of the series. 3 on the 3-run homer of Rich Hebner. And it's 11-3. And here comes Roberto Clemente. There have been 14 runs and 20 hits in this ball game. And if you think that's a scramble, wait till you see the Pirate and Oriole ball clubs, league officials, and reporters and fans all get out of Baltimore tonight heading for Pittsburgh. That's going to be a scramble. Clemente is single-doubled, line to right, and foul down in the corner. Rettenmund took the long foul ball behind the top and next to the seats with a fine catch back in the 7th inning. Bases are clear. 3 runs are in on the Hebner 3-run homer. Palmer throws way high to Clemente. Ball 1. Eddie Watt has now gotten up to start the throw. Low and away from Clemente. That's an 8-run lead, but the Baltimore fans are beginning to buzz a little bit. And manager Earl Weaver has had Dukes, Hall, and now Watt up and throwing, and now Rickard has gotten up to throw. Ball is high and inside. Clemente swings, fouls it off, out of play to the right. The ball's 1 strike. Out now. Ground ball. Belanger in back of second base. Can't find the handle, and Clemente is safe. Went behind second base. Got his glove on the ball. It skipped toward the third base side, and Clemente is safe at first base, and it is an error on Belanger, who had 2 errors in the first game. And a lot of the fans do not like the call against Belanger, but here comes Stargell. 0 for 18, walked a couple of times, and then got a base hit in the 7th inning. Big curveball to him, misses. Stargell, if he ever connects, all of a sudden it's 11-5, and the breathing room becomes a little bit less for the Orioles. It's 11-3 now. Started the inning 11-0. Fouls to the screen behind the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike to Stargell. The Pirates at least know now that they can hit the long ball against Baltimore pitching. Very little doubt about the long drive to right field by Hebner. Ball 2 outside to Stargell, 2-1. A lot of wind blowing out that way, but Rich hit it very well. Palmer working very fast back, and there's a foul tip. And for the second time in this game, Ed Sudol has it go off his mask. Bob Prince pointed out that Bob works the National League all the time with the Pirates, that Sudol gets hit more than any other umpire behind the plate. That's the second time in this game he's taken a shocked foul ball right in the middle of the mask. He has to take it off and shake it off. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Stargell. Palmer ready, changes on him, ground ball toward Davey Johnson, flips to Belanger, and they're out of the inning. A 3-run score on the home run by Hebner. There are 2 base hits, there was 1 error, and there's 1 man left. We go to the last of the 8th. In the second game of the World Series, Baltimore 11, Pittsburgh.
The 6th pitcher of the afternoon for the Pirates is Dave Justy, now coming on as Bob Miller was batted for successfully by Davey, picked up the base hit. As Jim Simpson described, with a bouncer over third, and Hebner hit his first home run in the series and the first for the Pirates to make it 11-3. Noteworthy for Dave Justy is the fact that while he was 5-6 on the year, he perhaps has been the most successful fireman in the National League over the past 2 seasons since the Pirates acquired him from the St. Louis Cardinals. Justy had 30 saves on the regular season. And I might add that in the championship series, he appeared in all 4 ball games, and he saved 2 of those. And significantly, it was a good point for him that he was the saving pitcher in the ball game against the Cardinals when the Pirates clinched the National League East, and was the saving pitcher in the championship series against the San Francisco Giants when the Pirates won the National League Championship. So they've made a switch now and brought in Dave Justy, and I believe while I had my head down there's been another switch made, which Jim will bring you up on.
That's right, Bob. Davey, who batted for the pitcher, remains in the ball game and in the number 9 spot and moves to left field. Stargell is out of the ball game. And Dave Justy will bat in the 4th spot, but I doubt that Dave will ever get the chance. Here is Blair up for the first time. Justy with those 30 saves that Bob told you about in regular season play, 3 in the league championships. Getting a chance now to get a little work here today. An 11-3 ball game. 7-3 ball game. Blair, Hendricks, and Robinson. 8th inning, and Justy, who throws strikes, throws a strike to Paul Blair, up for the first time. Blair led all players last year in batting average, not Brooks Robinson. Blair was about 467, as I recall. Brooks was over 400 in that 5-game series with Cincinnati. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Blair. Justy, the right-hander, ready, and throws a breaking pitch, and Blair pounds it out into left center field, and there's another base hit. Blair stops. And I don't care who it is, Bob. Baltimore seems to be able to see off. That's the 14th hit. 4 off Johnson, none off Kison. He faced him and walked him. 5 off Moose, 1 off Veale, 3 off Miller, and now 1 off Justy. And here's Hendricks, who has 2 of those 14 hits. He's had a perfect day. Walked, hit by a pitch, and a couple of base hits. Scored twice. And driven in a run. Left-hander against right-hander, drive center field. Oliver starts back and has it about 300 feet away, 320 feet away. And Brooks Robinson. Brooks Robinson, who made the fine play back in the top of this inning, also has had a perfect day. 3 singles and a walk. 3 RBIs and 2 runs scored. Justy ready. Blair at first base. All of the base hits by the Orioles, keeping track or not, have been singles. They've not gone the extra base route. All 1 to Robinson. Breaking pitch inside. It's 2-0. Brooks in the first single. Walked and scored in the 4th. Single. Drove in a run and scored in the 5th. Single. Drove in run in the 6th. There's a strike inside. Balls 1 strike to Robinson. Crowd here of 53,239. Bob said 10 more than on Saturday. Very quiet for the moment in this 11-3 ball game. Palmer trying to go the route. Justy throws. It is low. And it's 3-1 to Brooks Robinson. Dave Johnson on deck. Ball game on Saturday took about 2 hours and 20 minutes. This is going to take at least about 3 hours. Inside, Brooks Robinson draws the walk, and Blair goes down to second. 15 walks thus far in this ball game. Here is Johnson, who has none of them. Lined into a double play and a couple of base hits, and has been called out on strike. Been thrown out of the plate and has scored and has driven in 2 runs. Justy throws, breaking pitch. High down the left field line. Over comes Davey near the foul line and takes it in fair territory for the second out. And Mark Belanger lined out, walked twice, scored a run, hit into a forced play. If you are looking ahead to the 9th inning, Oliver, Robertson, and Sanguillen as the Pirates try an almost insurmountable task of needing 8 runs to tie. Blair walks off at second base. Robinson very short lead at first. Playing Belanger slightly toward right. Justy throws, misses the outside corner, ball 1. Now the shadows over the stands coming over the left field line roof have almost gotten to third base. Everything down the left field line is in the shade. Justy throws again. The ball is fouled off to the right, where it is very sunny and probably quite pleasant. Justy known primarily for the palm ball, following up a fellow by the name of Elrod Hendricks that made a great reputation in Pittsburgh with the fork ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 on, 2 out, and there's another one. Check swing this time, off to the right, foul, out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Blair down at second base, the lead, or rather I should say the series leading hitter last year, up for the first time in this series, and had a base hit. Justy staring into Sanguillen now, ready. Pitching from the stretch, comes in, misses outside, it's 2-2. Tomorrow, Mike Cuellar uses that screwball a lot. In the league championship against Oakland, though, we counted of the 26 outs he had, 1 man was doubled off base. 20 of them outs came on the fastball. Popped up, right side foul. Bob Robertson comes over, should have it, does have it, and Justy pitches a rather strong inning, but does give up a single and walks a man. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left. We go to the top of the 9th. At the Pirates' last chance, and this is the second World Series game with Baltimore leading them 11-3.
We pause 30 with Jim Simpson, Bob Prince here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Dick Hall, who picked up the sobriquet a turkey, not from the way he throws, but the way he carries himself. He's a dart thrower. He's been in 27 games for Baltimore, won 6 and lost 6, and has absolutely uncanny control, walking only 11 batters, has an ERA this year of 5.02. Rather an interesting thing, when he was with the Pirates, he was signed into the era of Mr. Rickey, and he was an outfielder, and they started him in the infield at third base when the Pirates opened the season. Dick Hall, however, is a very knowledgeable young man, and while pitching in Mexico, met and fell in love with a young lady by the name of Elena, so he learned to speak Spanish so there would be no language barrier, and there hasn't been. They're married and have several children.
Al Oliver, Bob Robertson, and Manny Sanguillen to face Dick Hall. The Baltimore fans sent up a little murmur when they saw Hall coming on. There's a strike with the fastball in that Palmer had worked 8 innings, was in no real trouble at all, trying to perhaps go for a complete ball game, but manager Earl Weaver said, I'd rather have a stronger man there. It might be that they counted the pitches that Palmer threw, and he had 63 pitches through something like just the 3rd inning. He threw a bundle of pitches. 1-1 the count to Al Oliver, fastball, and it is past Davey Johnson, who made a dive toward at second base, and it's a base hit. Well, in the first game, all of the Birds' runs came on home runs, notably by Frank Robinson, Merv Rettenmund, and Don Buford. Here in the second game, with the score 11-3 in the ninth inning, all of their runs have been scored without an extra base hit. Here's Bob Robertson. Walked twice, struck out twice. Each time he was struck out, swinging at a fastball. All trying to save the game for Palmer. Throws fastball outside. It is ball one. And if Brooks is not doing one thing, he's doing something else. He has tied a series record for times in reaching base in a single game. Brooks is up 5 times in this game, had 3 hits and 2 walks, and ties Babe Ruth and Lou Brock. Fastball popped up center field. Back goes Johnson, right and back at second base, and has it for the first out of the ninth. Well, Brooks, who made the great play on Sanguillen in the 8th inning, has also tied a World Series record, reaching base 5 times in 5 attempts. Sanguillen 1 for 4 today, 1 for 8 in the series. The 11 runs, 14 hits, 1 error for Baltimore, 3 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error. For the Pirates, as Sanguillen fouls the first one back. Milt May, young catcher for the Pirates, is out on deck, hoping to get his first World Series swings, and barring a double play, he will. Change up by Hall. It's outside and low. 1 ball, 1 strike to Sanguillen. 12:45 Eastern Time tomorrow from Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. 3rd game of the World Series. Fastball fouled back upstairs again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And the way it looks right now, barring one of the greatest comebacks ever in World Series history, it is going to be Baltimore leading 2 games to none. And in the best of 7 World Series history, there have only been 4 comebacks after dropping the first 2. Hall ready, throws, ground ball. Johnson charges, goes to second base, back to first base, not in time. 2 out, and Milt May will get a chance to bat. Sanguillen safe on the 4th. May was up 1 time, failed to hit in the championship playoffs, and during the regular season, used sparingly, only in 49 games, hit .278. Did have 6 home runs, 25 RBIs. May, a youngster, only 20 years old, son of Pinky May, played for the Phillies and managed in the minors. They call an out away from wrapping this up. Swing and a miss at a fastball by May. Strike 1. Pirates feel that Milt May developed the same way that Johnny Bench did. High fastball from Hall. 1 ball, 1 strike. Of course, another National League team by the name of the Padres has a youngster by the name of Mike Ivy that they feel will be a great catcher. 1 ball, 1 strike, ground ball. Robinson, a rather boog towel over, flip underhand to Hall, and that's it. Baltimore takes the series here in Baltimore, 2 games to none, winning the first game 5-3, and this game 11-3 in the 9th inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left. The final score in the second game of the World Series, Baltimore 11, Pittsburgh 3 at 11.
3 1/2 innings of play. Baltimore leading by the score of 1-0.